Here we go. Looks like we're live. Hello, everybody. And by everybody, we mean Charlie. Welcome to the live stream. We're here. I'm trying to remember the last time we had the three of us on a live stream.
It must have been LBS.
One of the first LBS ones, because it was either Ethan or I were missing from a few of those.
Yeah.
I wanted to be on the last live stream, but the flu got me.
Yeah.
And I was unconscious.
Oh man.
I think I made it in the chat for like all of 2 seconds, and then I passed out cold. But
well, you're here now.
Yeah, it's party.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Well, we're talking Coalescence. We have a new movie out. It's called Coalescence.
Mm-hmm.
Go watch it if you haven't already. Or you can stay here. Actually, stay on this because we want your views on here. And then you can watch after the stream. I'm assuming everybody...
Here's what you do. Mute the live stream, open a new tab, go to our YouTube channel and watch it. Then come back if we're still streaming and ask us questions.
Yeah, there you go.
Look,
there you go.
It's all about watch minutes on YouTube nowadays anyway. So
yes,
just maximize
please and
those.
Thank you.
Yeah, please. Please. Yeah. I know that, well, maybe not. I was going to say, I know more people are going to be coming in. I actually don't know that for sure. But we're going to have, we're here to answer your questions, talk about this movie. Zach, the director, is here. He can chat all about it.
Yes.
If you guys are cool with it, I'd love to kick things off with a... we asked for some questions on Instagram, and we got all but one response. So...
Hey, we got one response.
Well, technically two, but one of them was a joke response. So
okay.
So let me go to
who did it? Who made the joke?
Oh no! Wait, where's my? No. I'm on my personal. I'm not logged in. Oh no!
Oh,
Ethan, go to our.
Hold on. Okay, my phone is my webcam, but
And we lost him.
Oh,
he'll be back because he's using his phone right now.
Yeah.
Well, while Ethan looks for that question, Zach, how do you feel having this movie finally out? It's been in the can, or not in the can? Well, it was shot 2022. How does it feel?
It feels so good. Yeah. No, it was wild. We were on a writer's retreat, the three of us, this past weekend, and by the end of the weekend it felt like Coalescence had been out for the longest time. It was wild. But as soon as Friday rolled around and we dropped it, that was really nice to just kind of be like, it's over, we've got it out, people can go enjoy it and stuff like that. Because there's always, even like when we were like really close, there's still that like slight level of like stress that's like, man,
Mm-hmm.
But we finished it. It's done. It's out there. People have seen it.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah.
No, it's really cool having it be out. It's cool because it's been almost like an inside joke, not even joke, but just like an inside reference for all of us. Cause we've referenced Coalescence quite a few times over the last few years and no one really knows what we're talking about, but now people will. So that's really cool that people know about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious what the view count is now for Coalescence. Let me see real quick.
Good question.
366 people have seen Coalescence. Nice.
Wow.
Very cool. Very cool.
I'm back.
He's returned from the underground, from the underworld.
I can't find the responses on Instagram.
Charlie has a question here. Let's answer Charlie's question.
Yeah, let's do that.
And I'm gonna look as best I can. Charlie asked, Are y'all doing the Oscar contest in 2 weeks? Do you know others in the scene doing it? I have quite an opus planned.
Ooh, exciting. Yes.
With an asterisk.
Are we?
Yes.
I didn't know
Zach
we were playing.
is.
Oh, Zach is.
I
Very
know
nice.
what my plans are. I don't know what your guys' plans / our plans are.
Wait, what day is the Oscars happening again?
It's a
March
Sunday.
2nd.
The 2nd?
Yeah.
I'm booked. I'm booked that day. I'm trying to remember. No, I'm not doing it.
I
got plans.
Yeah, I'm not. I will not be participating, but that's because we will be shooting something else soon. So that filmmaking itch is it's going to be scratched.
Cool.
And what it is, you'll find out by the end of this year, because I ain't jinxing this one. That's all I'm going to say.
Zach, what are you doing?
I am
As
doing...
I said, don't jinx it. Let's jinx Zach.
Reveal whatever you want. Actually, sorry. Doom bears all.
Yes, I will be doing things in a place that is not Portland. That is all I will say.
What does it mean?
Sweet. Okay, I found the question from it's from Instagram, from Borax Studios. Borax asks, how long was the writing process on Coalescence, and what are your influences?
That's a great question. I love that question. So this is a bit of a long story and kind of a complicated answer, but the writing process, the initial script, I believe I started in April of 2022, and we started shooting in June of 2022. Now, the vast majority of the script was written at that time. However, when it came time to shoot, I did not have the finale written, nor did I have the I didn't have the finale written, but at that time I was also working on rewriting certain portions because of scheduling that was coming up, which meant that I had to rewrite one of our characters' roles within the film a little bit, which actually made the film much more interesting, I thought. But this was the initial version of the film prior to everything that happened after that. So for those who are tuning in now that don't necessarily know the backstory, we shot about 75, somewhere between 75 and 80% of the film over the course of summer of 2022, and then additional photography in that December. And then basically Coalescence went into a sort of kind of indefinite pause. And then we picked it back up for editing to basically rework it into what it is now, and shot an altered version of the finale, the end of the film, and another scene this past December in 2024. So writing really has been going on throughout the entire project. But the initial script was about a couple months. So it was pretty fast. As for influences, there's a lot of very loose things. I think, what did I say in my director's statement? I was talking about a lot of kind of Cold War vibes, kind of trying to take a Neo approach to that sort of kind of Cold War paranoia and conspiracy theories and stuff like that, and kind of mix that with kind of the like coming of age, like out of high school into college sort of life transition sort of arc for our characters. But yeah, there nothing really like hyper specific. I will say there were ideas in the early development that played off of some aspects of Claremont's X-Men, actually, very vaguely, like to the point where it's like you'd have to be paying very close attention to notice anything, but not much of that really bleeds in here. But that was a little bit of an initial influence, particularly Dark Phoenix Saga. But yeah, mostly just pulling different vibes from different things. Yeah.
Nice. Charlie asks, I'm struggling to ask any questions on Coalescence since, as you might guess from my review, it seems like such pure cinema that I can't imagine it ever existing on a page or even a set. Nice.
We did it.
I like that.
Yeah.
I hear a gremlin running around your house, Ethan.
2 dogs.
Oh boy.
They're monsters.
Two of them.
They are.
Yeah, no, to
unhinged.
address that sort of thing that Charlie said in regards to like imagining how things came together and kind of struggling with how that would work on a set and stuff. Yeah, a lot of things that came together that ultimately enhanced this film were really chance circumstances that weren't necessarily initially part of the plan. Like the initial rewrite of Andre's character, one of our actors, Andre, who plays Harris in the film, he was working out of town for most of summer, so he was only going to be in town for certain days, which meant that he was going to be absent for a lot of the group filming. So I ended up working in that sort of arc where it's like he's not really present for a lot of that stuff, and you get that interpersonal tension between Harris and Josh in the initial version, and you get bits of that in this as well, that really enhanced those character dynamics, and you get more of an arc with his character, and that also plays into Josh's arc as well. And then, of course, stopping filming, I mean, we wouldn't have gotten this version of the film if we had filmed the whole thing, because then we would have just edited it to the initial story as opposed to changing it a little bit, and so on and so forth. But yeah, a lot of things that were out of our control influenced positive change on the film, or ultimate positive change on the film. So yeah,
I definitely think it's worth noting and emphasizing that the original version of the film was very different than the film that exists on our channel, and I think that the journey it took from point A to point Z is interesting to kind of look at. And obviously, people can't because it doesn't exist. But we'll probably do a video on it in the coming weeks.
No, I started laying out some of a scriptment-ish for a video.
But yeah, I think it's I think if you could see what the movie was on the page and then what was shot and what was edited, it kind of just reiterates what we've talked about on this channel before, which is there's really 3 writing stages on any given film, because there's the movie you write, there's the movie you shoot, and there's the movie you edit, and all of them are completely different. In this case, the movie you edit, I think, was probably the from shooting to editing, that was probably the biggest jump.
Yeah.
And Ethan, you edited the film. So what was, I mean, can you talk about that process of editing Coalescence? Because the way it kind of came together was it was sitting on the hard drive for a long time. Nothing was really done. We were like, hey, we should do this. And I think it was during LBS. I like cut together a version. It's not what you see in the movie, but I cut together a version of the opening.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, ooh, I want to do this.
Yeah.
And then you took and you ran with that, essentially.
Yeah. So there was that version of the movie, that opening, probably the first, 5 to 7 minutes of the movie tops. And you showed us that early on, and then we kind of shelved it for a while. And we did. I think, Zach, you were tossing around the idea of more photography. And so we waited, and then we kind of circled back and realized, okay, a big batch of principal photography, secondary principal photography wasn't seeming so likely. So we pretty much just took everything just to see what we had and throw it at a wall and just see what stuck. And so I asked you, Jordan, I was like, hey, can I see what you originally edited? And you were like, I deleted it. So going off of memory, I reconstructed it. And that's basically what you see in the film. The first, couple of minutes of the movie, the crazy intro hook of the movie. And then from there, we kind of had a discussion about just editing based on feeling and not going so much for narrative cohesion, though, obviously elements of that is there just from the material that we have. But really, Zach, you gave me the trust and the freedom to kind of throw things at the wall. And I would kind of go in like 1 to 2 week spurts where I would edit stuff. Like I'd add 8 to 10 minutes to the timeline. We'd resync as a group and then talk about what's working, what's not working, where things might go from here. And then I would go away again for another 2 weeks. I would add another 8 to 10 minutes. I mean, that was kind of washing the cycle for like 2.5 months, give or take, was just doing that. And, some weeks were really good weeks and you get, a good 10 minutes on the timeline. And some weeks you get like 30 seconds on, and some scenes just demanded a lot more thought and effort. And it was a really big puzzle. But it came together really well. And then, I think the best part though overall was the principal photography for the ending that we were able to do. That addition was really cool. And I think it really tied everything together. And it's been cool to see all the reviews people have left. A lot of it's pointing at how much people liked the ending of the film. And I agree. I think that's my favorite part of the whole thing, is just the way that like emotionally lands, even though like, again, narratively and like logically, you might not know how it lands or why things are happening and what's going on. But I think it drove through really well.
Mm-hmm.
I see we got another question here, so I'll stop.
Charlie asks, the amazingly rhythmic title cards were what I loved most, and they reminded me of Michael Snow's 1982 film. So were you influenced by experimental film in the edit, Ethan? Have you guys seen that movie?
I was influenced by... No, I haven't. I'm
adding it to my letterbox right now.
It's like all text.
Yeah.
That's the entire movie. It's a weird companion with Jim Jarmusch's Blue in a way, because it's...
I should have, Jordan, done research with this, which I have on loan from you for a different project, but this feels like it would have fit into that kind of influence. But no, I really, a lot of it was influenced by like Maya Deren, going back and watching some of her films like Atland. That was a big influence, but a lot of it came from me going to Jordan, who is a lot more versed in like the abstract cinema editing, where it's emotion based. And a lot of your influence, Jordan, helped me out with that. I mean, having watched things that you've edited and are working on, that was very helpful. So I would say my influence is Jordan telling me to stop being scared and to go further. Because I'll be like, is this too much? And Jordan's like, it's not enough. And I'd be like, okay, I'm going to go edit more. Yeah, and I think there's a lot of other nothing. I'm trying to remember what other things in kind of like my research stage, and I don't quite remember. But Maya Deren would have been a big influence for sure. I remember watching a lot of her things, and then David Lynch, obviously, with films like Eraserhead, some of that way he strings shots together always is an influence.
Yeah, I definitely maybe it's a sickness of mine, but when I see a movie and it's pretty conventional, I think, don't do that. Keep going, push it.
Yeah,
And that's probably that's a sickness. It's an issue. I'm a recovering experimental filmmaker, but I'm not trying to get better. Because I think the most, because I've talked about this before. Something I like doing with my own stuff is I think about if this movie was being made by Hollywood or on like Netflix or Amazon or whatever, I think, is this something that you would see Hollywood do? And if the answer is no, then that kind of is a challenge to me, being like, oh, then I kind of feel like I want to and I have to. And we had a really cool movie here. And I think some of the first versions you had, Ethan, like that first, was it maybe 20 minutes or 15 minutes or so? There's a lot of conventional stuff in it at first. And I remember saying, push it more. And that was really fun and probably made your head hurt and everything.
It was like a muscle that I had never worked out before, or hadn't worked out as much. Like I've done experimental edit, like House, and then back in like when we were at the film school, there was like that midterm kind of project we did, or I shot like the Reflections in Downtown one, which was very much, I don't know, I think you compared it to like early film student George Lucas editing, which I can see the resemblance to in that. So I think those kind of things, I was trying to pull that Ethan, work out those muscles, and unlocked a new level in Coalescence, and it was very fun. It was a sandbox.
Yeah. And one of the, I think I'm looking back at like some of the first notes that I gave you were when you were talking about ideas for the edit before you went off and did stuff, was I had brought up like propaganda and like hypnosis type stuff.
Yeah.
And then I'd also, when we were talking about like emotional editing versus like linear and chronological narrative editing, I think one of my notes that I had gave you, and I don't know if it was helpful, so you can say, but I think I had said to edit it like it's from Josh's point of view in retrospective, trying to put things back together.
Yeah. And that was helpful. Yeah. I think that was the hardest part, was like be as the editor, like having to take a stance on where, like what I pictured the scene meant, but then having to like be like, well, maybe I'm wrong though. And that makes it exciting too, though. Like when I released House, there were so many different reads and edit on the edit of that I never even pictured people would like pull meaning from. And so it was nice having that like in real time from you two. We could weigh out like, okay, in my mind, this scene is from this character's perspective, or from this character's perspective, or this entity's perspective. You guys be like, no, it feels like this, or, oh, it should lean into more of this character's perspective. And I think that dialogue that was constantly happening was really interesting. It was all helpful for sure. Just because, I mean, again, this movie is weird, and the more perspectives, the better on a project like this. It really was helpful. And one last influence that I didn't mention, when we went to go see End of Evangelion at the OMSI Theater, that was a big one. That was like our last piece of research before jumping in. So which comes out in the trailer and the text font. I tried to make the titles look, I chose the same font roughly as Neon Genesis, and our trailer is based off the TV spots of theirs, so direct influence.
Yeah. This is a big excuse to finally get you guys to watch Evangelion.
Yeah.
I know I've been slowly burning through it for years.
Yeah. Charlie says, thinking of the ending again, I also feel like the structure is almost Bressonian, where the coldness of the runtime makes the emotional intensity of the ending be all more powerful. I like
Thank
it.
you. Yeah.
I agree with that, but I'm biased, so I worked on the movie.
Yeah, putting that ending together was rad. That was a fun one to see the cast. It was very weird. Like I was on set for a handful of days, and it was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And so like I didn't know everyone super well, and then I never saw them again. And so after like sitting with the movie for like 2.5 months, then all of a sudden all these characters are in my basement filming a scene. I'm like, I know all of you.
You were in my computer.
How did
Now
you
you're
not
in
know
my
me?
basement.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
I felt like a crazy person talking to them. It's like, you're this, your character is this to me. And they're like, okay, I haven't even seen this movie.
It was like,
I'm like,
you know what it was like, Ethan? It was like when we were leaving the LBS premiere in Yakima and we passed by David's car. We spent hours on hours, if not days, studying David's car because we had to recreate it digitally. And so when we saw it in real life, it was like a crazy moment. It was
the
awesome.
texture. I know. Every time I see David's car now, I'm like, oh my God.
We got James Flicker Studios is here. Hello, James. Welcome.
Speaking of Little Black Submarines.
Yeah.
And the premiere.
James says, ending was crazy. Excellent work, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Tell your friends
Thanks
to
for
watch.
being here.
James, did you end up watching this movie on Valentine's Day? Because I know last time you were talking about, like, is this a good Valentine's movie? I want to know.
It's got love.
If you watched it on Valentine's and your date went well, you're welcome. If it did not go well, that's on your fault. That's on you.
If it did not go well, you dodged a bullet.
This is the true Doom Productions dating vetting system. Just watch Coalescence on Valentine's Day. If they stick around, you got a good one.
No, I did not, but I did watch it with my Valentine and she liked it. There you go.
Nice.
She's a keeper.
Yeah.
Oh, she left a review on Letterboxd. Nice.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome. Thank you, James. Spreading the good news.
She passed the Coalescence test. Yes.
The first recorded case of passing the Coalescence test.
I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever shown a YouTube folk film with anybody in real life outside of like other filmmakers, like with my family or like non-film friends. Except I did have my sister watch Not So Amazing because she likes Spider-Man. And I was like, hey, my friend made a Spider-Man movie.
Sarah, I don't think has watched any folk films. She's barely watched mine. Thank you, James. But I think Not So would be the one she'd like the most if I had to show her one. I think she would get a kick out of Not So. She'll reference it and she's never seen it. So
yeah, I think personally, like I think Amanda watches my
did Jordan freeze?
Stuff. Oh, did I freeze? Or is that just you?
You're good.
Okay. I think my girlfriend.
Maybe it's me.
I think you're on a delay, Ethan.
I might be.
Okay. Yep. Slight delay.
It definitely is.
I think my girlfriend, she's seen some of my stuff. I don't think she's seen all of it, but personally, I feel kind of like it's cool. I'm fine with keeping the film stuff separate from personal life to an extent because I'm like, that's work. and I don't want to think about movies all the time. But you know,
Yes.
I mean,
I'm afraid to speak if I'm on delay.
I mean, I'll say this too. Ethan has shot entire feature films for me without having read the script, and that's pretty cool. That seems to work out just fine. I'm happy with the results.
It's only occasionally. It's like a surprise that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
We talk about it enough ahead of time. I know what's going on.
I know. It's kind of like, well, we go through the movie so much already. It's like, yeah, if he reads it, he's got to read it. That slows him down. He could be thinking about the visuals instead. That's better.
I don't need to know what the characters are saying. I just need to know the setting and the vibe.
Exactly. I totally
and
agree.
how many spots I have to light.
Exactly. Yeah.
I've gotten better. I read more now. I'm no longer illiterate.
I swear I read. Yeah. Well, we can answer any more Coalescence questions people have, or any other filmmaking relating questions.
Did any come through on Twitter?
I don't think so. I don't know if I asked for any on Twitter, if I'm honest.
You did.
Did I?
There was a post on Twitter. I tried. I'm not logged in on my computer, and I don't feel like looking for a password right now.
Let me see. Doom Productions. Oh, I guess well, yeah, we announced the Q&A.
I wasn't sure there was a call for questions on there.
We just said bring your questions.
Oh.
But yeah, if anyone has any questions about Coalescence or filmmaking or any other projects, feel free to drop them in the thing. I have a random question that I just thought about for you guys.
Yeah.
What was the last book you read that you were like, this would make an awesome movie? Speaking of literacy.
Jurassic Park.
I mean, yeah. Even if it already exists as a movie.
That was the last book I read. I mean, Between Two Fires. Yeah. Naturally.
Yeah, that's why I gave it to you, because I was like, this feels like an Ethan Hansen movie waiting to be made.
Yeah, I'd make the heck out of that movie.
Zach?
All right. I've got two. Now, Jordan, you will concur.
Yeah.
Yes. I have not finished it yet, but I have been reading it because I got it for Christmas.
Which version are you on?
I'm still on the first one.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's really cool because I'm excited to see how they like compare the differences and stuff like that.
It's pretty interesting. I will mourn the loss of Tevildo, the cat, which you'll hear all about. Yeah, I asked that question because I read Lord of the Flies recently, and I was like, "Dang, this is a really good book." Because I'm working on it with some kids at school, and I was like, "Oh, I should probably read this first before I do any closer reading with them." So I read it just in like a day, and I was like, "Oh, this is really good." Like, I'd love to see this as a movie. I mean, I know there is a movie that exists, but in my head, I was imagining it as a movie.
How long is the book?
It's real short. It's not that long.
I've never read it.
I mean, I blasted.
I guess it's been too long.
It's like 12 chapters total. Pretty quick read. James says, "Are there any choices y'all made on this movie that you'd like to expand on / do something similar to in the future?"
Yeah, I think for every like normal narrative movie I make, having a fun little side experimental project to work on in the background be fun. I have one that I've been like, it's back burner right now just because other projects have taken the forefront. But there's an experimental movie that I started kind of brainstorming on last year. I'd like to continue, and I think some ideas from this would bleed over. There's some ideas from Little Black Submarines and how we edited that I think would bleed over as well. But yeah, definitely.
I only did the music, so I guess yes. I don't know. I made the music very quickly. Like I made it in like pretty back to back within a span of a couple days, with the exception
What
of
did
one
you?
track that you guys asked me to. I think you asked for a new track like a month later, and I did that later. But I can't even remember much of the music making process.
You made it on a phone.
Made it well, yeah, I made it on my phone. Oh, and I made a lot of the tracks after election night, so I was furious and I was just putting my anger into the music. So
Yeah.
I was like, so there's a couple tracks where I'm like, oh, that sounds angry because I was angry.
It worked well.
Yeah.
Oozed with intention.
Yeah. As someone who spent the last year making 2 more conventional features and an experimental anthology, the former are definitely the ones for them and the latter being one for me. I totally agree.
I think that's a healthy way to do it.
Yeah, after Little Black Submarines, I don't know how much this will influence all of my movies, but after Little Black Submarines was filmed and released, because I feel there were 2 very different processes but similar. I definitely felt like I am done collabing with people. Not like Ethan excluded, but like I'm done. Like like I felt like so much like I need to do something that is unashamedly just for me with the sole purpose of pleasing myself. So, I think having an outlet to do that is really healthy beside a more conventional or more traditional film or project or whatever. Because yeah, I feel like I like to think I'm a good, okay collaborator, but I definitely there's something about just doing something just for me that speaks to me, that gives me a lot of energy or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not really thinking of any particular choices for me, but more so just what I've learned through the entire process is definitely going to carry over into everything I make going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Just in ways I learned to problem solve, ways I learned to address and adapt to things, and just working at a much larger scale than I had ever worked before, because this was before Little Black Submarines. So, yeah.
Little Black Submarines was born on the set of this film, actually, because we showed up to that pool location that's in the movie. There's like that big pool in the house. And Ethan and I were like, we will never have this much money. And we were so depressed. Oh, well, maybe he was. I definitely was. Ethan, I think we were sharing some misery a little bit. And we just sat down next to the pool and we were just like, what if we made a chlorine movie? And we started spitballing ideas, and it snowballed into Little Black Submarines.
Yeah. Sitting next to a very fancy pool will do that to you, I guess. Spirit of pool boy lives there.
I know. Yeah. So this movie has been through. I mean, it's seen very different eras of Doomed. What an incredible origin story for a movie. Yeah. No, totally. Like I remember very clearly, like sitting with Ethan by the pool as Zach is getting shots and wrangling actors, and we were just like, man, we're in the wrong career. Like this is ridiculous. Like, because listen, I'm not very like money driven, clearly, because I want to make movies, which is, and yeah. But like I don't get like that very often, but just being in such a huge, like very wealthy person's house, like seeing it in the flesh is very different than just like seeing it on Instagram or on TikTok or YouTube or whatever, seeing pictures of it. It's very different when you're there standing in a pool or sitting by a pool. Yeah. Oh, Charlie asks, Returning to the subjects of books, are you still interested in returning to that adaptation trilogy that you considered at the beginning of 2023? Ooh, you have an excellent memory, Charlie.
Wow.
Charlie's here to keep us accountable.
Yeah.
Yes.
In
How do we want to
short,
answer that?
well, we all have, there's 3 different projects that we were working on. And so probably potentially 3 different answers. For me, yes, that my project is still going to happen, but not for a while. It's still happening, but just not for a while, because yeah, that's all I'm going to say, because I don't want to jinx anything. Ethan?
Yes, but not for a while. Because it's going to be a big one.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to say yes, but not for a while. Probably not as long as some of the other ones, but we'll see. I don't want to jinx it either. I have other projects that are further along in development.
To elaborate a little bit, because we're not busy with many questions. I wrote my project. I realized there was a set budget that I wanted for it. That was a necessity. And I was like, oh, this probably is not likely for a while. And then as I've been thinking about it recently, there's a way to do a modernized. Be careful. There's a way to do my movie, but then in addition to that, do a way more book accurate and like religious to the book version concurrently / like around the same time, which sounds really vague, but I have like a big, I think if all goes according to plan, kind of like how I'm working on, ooh, I almost said too much. It'll be a very big endeavor, I'll just say that, which may or may not be 2 films being made at the same time. So it'll be quite an endeavor, and I would like to wait a while and kind of hop around to different projects before I commit to that, essentially. Oh yeah, good question, Charlie. But books are cool. Yeah. Books are a very cool thing. Do you guys have top books of all time?
Ooh.
Yes.
What are they?
I do. I mean, influentially, like House of Leaves left a big imprint on me in like the horror and how I like approach writing and ideas around horror. But yeah, Between Two Fires is a new member to that list of favorite books. Just fantastic. I could talk about that book all day. And I mean, like Lord of the Rings, probably too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Classic. Zach, do you have a favorite book or a couple?
I'm looking at my bookshelf and I'm trying not to say Lord of the Rings because I feel like that's very predictable for me. But I'm probably going to have to go with Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
My other options are, well, some of my other books are kind of buried behind other books because my shelf is too deep, so I'm not remembering everything. But
I definitely think Dracula's up there. The Silmarillion is up there. And Blood Meridian is up there. It's kind of basic choices, but I'm also not like, I'm not a big, I try to be a big reader, but I'm not a literary person. So, but those are my basic choices, I think, for top 3. All I'll say is I'm intrigued at how y'all respond to Pasolini's own literary trilogy. Y'all seem to have very different vibes from Paolo, so I'm intrigued in how we'll compare and contrast. Yeah, it'll be very different. That's a safe assumption. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, not that those are bad movies, but very different than what we make usually. Top 3 John Carpenter films, not counting vampires. It's a good question. Hello, Aaron. I feel like we've seen you on a comment here and there, and it's cool to have you in the chat.
I mean, The Thing's the easiest answer.
Yeah.
What else do we got?
Who's John Carpenter?
Oh my gosh. I'll say my favorite is In the Mouth of Madness, probably, because I love Lovecraft. I would have counted Lovecraft in my favorite books of all time, but he never really. He wrote a novella called shoot, I can't remember the name. Charles Dexter Ward, and I guess that one would also be one of my favorite books. But he didn't write novels really. He wrote short fiction. So, In the Mouth of Madness is my favorite John Carpenter, easily.
Yeah, just a big Halloween fan.
Mm-hmm.
So I gotta shout out Halloween.
I like him because he also does his own music. And when I was starting to make my own music for my movies, I felt like not ashamed, but I'm like, can you do this? Are you allowed to do this? This feels kind of weird and pretentious. But then I was like, oh, John Carpenter does it, and Robert Rodriguez, and I was like, John Carpenter gave me a little confidence boost. Like, oh, he scored all these big movies, and he was allowed to do it, so that's cool. But yeah, John Carpenter's cool. I don't think I've seen all of them. I'm looking at the list of stuff.
Yeah, there's quite a few that I haven't seen.
Yeah,
I've seen Dark Star, Assault on Precinct 13, Halloween. Yeah, I haven't seen his Elvis movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, he did The Fog? I didn't realize that was him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. He's a good filmmaker. Yeah. Good question. Favorite vampire movie, fellas?
Ooh.
Speaking of vampires.
You got me onto the Spanish version of Dracula.
Yeah, 1931.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta watch that one still. I haven't seen it.
It's very nice. It's a good.
Does Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein?
Absolutely.
And Dracula and the Wolfman count?
Why would it not?
Because I love that movie.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm
going Sesame Street.
Sesame Street.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna be very basic, and I'm gonna pick the Underworld movies. I love the Underworld movies so much. So much fun. But I also like the Dracula movies too. I've seen a ton of Dracula versions.
Yeah.
Oh, also A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. That's a really good one too. I like that one.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah, so A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night and the Underworld movies. All of them. They're sick. Oh, yeah, speaking of have you guys seen Girl Walks Home Alone at Night? Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
But I'm putting it on Letterboxd.
Wait, you guys didn't?
Now.
You guys haven't seen it?
Wait,
Nope.
Hold on. Maybe I have.
Because I totally would have brought that to the coast if I assumed you had seen it, Ethan.
Hold on. I need to look at this real quick.
There's two here.
It's an
I
awesome
don't
movie.
think I've seen it.
2011
heard
or
of
2014?
2014.
Okay, because they're both credited to the same person.
I think it's one
Anna
we've talked
Lily
about in the
Amirpour.
past.
She's an awesome director. I think it's like a Persian film or Iranian. I don't know which country produced it, but super awesome movie. I liked it very much, and I definitely would have brought it to the coast had I known you guys hadn't seen it. James says that's my favorite vampire movie. First saw it in class freshman year and was late to class, so I missed my professor's explanation for the movie. So I had no idea that it was a vampire movie.
That's amazing.
Yeah, you wouldn't realize that until like 20, 30 minutes into it.
That's
Yeah.
a sick way to watch it.
Yeah. It got me so revved up, I had to go run around outside in the yard. After looking back, I realized that was probably the most moved I've ever been by any single artwork. Oh, yeah. There you go.
High praise.
We watched 2 movies this weekend when we were at the coast, because Ethan was like, "There's a DVD player at the beach house we're going to stay at, so we should all bring some movies." What did we watch?
So we watched. I mean, really, it was a logical choice. I mean, we spent hours just trying to like perfectly concoct the like 2 movies that we could watch, and ones that would really flow well from one to the next. So what was the first movie we watched?
Woman in the Dunes.
Mhm.
Woman in the Dunes, a Criterion classic. And what was the second one, Zach?
2007's Ghost Rider.
The extended
With
cut.
Yes,
with
the
deleted
extended cut.
scenes.
Yes.
So now here's the game. Guess who brought Woman in the Dunes to the beach, and guess who brought Ghost Rider extended edition to the beach? Guess. Whoever gets it right gets like 2 brownie points. So two of us brought movies, but then one of us did not get to play their movie.
Yeah.
And while you all think about that, Aaron asks, "Is there a film genre you guys are afraid of attempting but interested in trying out?"
Ooh.
That's a good question.
A goal of mine at some point, and this is not necessarily super structured, but I would like to make a movie that dabbles in at least one of each genres. Not one movie for all of them, but one movie that like at least has one of the primary genres as like their main genre, if that makes sense. A movie for each genre. But as for ones that I'm afraid of attempting, not necessarily. I see it more so as creative challenge.
I will always feel the pull like once a year to make like something that's more of just like a drama.
Yes. Yeah.
But then I always am like, but what if I add something weird to it to make it more approachable for myself? So I don't know. I think I'm afraid of attempting a drama that doesn't have something weird in it.
I feel
like the movie
similar.
I'm making next, is a drama, but then something weird happens. And I had another one that I was pursuing last year for a little bit, where it was a drama about a relationship, and then something really weird happens. So I don't know, just a straight normal drama.
I feel like no, but I don't even know if I'm afraid of doing a drama, but I feel very similar because I'm like, I don't really watch dramas. I don't enjoy dramas personally. I've made them before, but I'm not really interested in doing them anymore. I don't know. Kind of a boring answer. I fear nothing. Because if I'm excited or interested in doing it, then I'm going to be excited about it, I guess. Not afraid.
Mm-hmm.
But good question. And James is correct. My guess is Jordan brought Woman in the Dunes and Zach brought Ghost Rider. How right you are.
It's like you were there.
Ghost Rider is Nevadine Taylor, right? What is her pioneering digital minds? There you go. There you go.
Beautiful.
Amazing.
Yeah, I brought Eraserhead and Inland Empire, and we didn't. It came down to a coin flip between Inland Empire and Ghost Rider on our second night on which one we were going to watch. And Ghost Rider won.
We did not watch anything the first night, right? Or did we?
We had 2 nights because it was Friday night and Saturday night. Or no, Saturday night, Sunday night. Yeah, so yeah.
We would have if we had gone Friday, but we didn't. because of the
That's
weather.
right. Yeah. James is always here in our hearts. Eraserhead is good. Still haven't seen Inland Empire. Oh, it's beautiful. It's a good movie.
Speaking of watching Coalescence on Valentine's Day, I watched Eraserhead for the first time at the beach house because it's Sarah's grandma's beach house, and I watched it on Sarah and I's honeymoon when we were out at the coast. Right,
That's such a fitting movie to watch as a newlyweds. Like
it was wild.
It fits so perfectly. Because
Yeah.
Lynch, I think Lynch was a new father or newlywed
Yeah.
as well. Or was he newly divorced? I can't. It was very early
Yeah.
in his, yeah.
But it was good. We both enjoyed it.
Yeah. There you go.
I agree. Well, to contrast it, we also spent a lot of time watching H2O Just Add Water, the mermaid show. Like that was what we were watching during the day. We just have it on in the background because it's Sarah's favorite show. But then I got kind of hooked on it. It's kind of fun. I like early 2000s, late 90s, just anything. So yeah, H2O Just Add Water was our palate cleanser.
It's about fatherhood.
Yeah.
Cleo.
Where's
Alex Clegg? Where's Merdul? Where's Mohat? Where's all of our Australians?
Yeah, come on, guys, show up.
Yeah.
What time is it over there?
That's a great movie. I think it's from. Is that show Xiao Shen? I can't remember. Hold on.
Wait.
What's a movie?
It's a movie. I think it's a Thai movie.
What time is it over there?
Taiwanese. Oh, Tsai Ming Liang. What time is it there?
Okay.
Okay, we're at it.
Where this movie is. It's called
This
Tsai
stream
Ming
is just
Liang.
me expanding my letterbox watch list.
Yeah, no. Tsai Ming Liang it's a 2001 movie called What Time Is It There? It's very good, and like most of his stuff, pretty much all of his stuff, and the YouTube filmmaking space and folk filmmaking, I think they owe a lot to filmmakers like Tsai Ming Liang.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of formal similarities between your typical average folk film and his stuff and other pieces of slow cinema. So check him out, people, or I'll show up to your house and make you watch it.
Damn.
Yeah.
So
I can do that.
Jordan's violent on these live streams.
I am. Yeah. Well, we've been going for about an hour. I don't know.
Yeah.
Things have been fun. Maybe we give it another 5-10 minutes or so. Get your questions
about right.
in. Yeah, get your questions in, people, if you have any. We do a bunch. We got a question from Charlie. Speaking of Psy, might any of y'all be interested in slow cinema?
Always.
In making it or watching it? Because I've seen a bunch, like Bellatar and Tsai Ming Liang. Let me look up some typical examples. I'll read them out loud. Practitioners. Oh, is Tarkovsky considered slow cinema? Bresson?
That's a good question.
Oh, Kursami, Tarkovsky, Bresson. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've seen. Yeah. I always get confused at who's considered slow cinema and all that. But yeah, like I like watching it.
I need to explore it more.
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely, I don't know. Like I said, a lot of films in the YouTube space owe a lot to that, I think. And I think the stuff coming out of Taiwan is particularly really strong. But I don't know if I'd make it. Well, I guess I did. Doesn't really count, but like Smoke Break last year was kind of my ode to that. So
yeah,
I guess making it's fun. Making it's very easy. I mean, not that it's easy to make a good movie, but it's a lot more easier than something like Little Black Submarines. What's the most important thing you think you've learned from making Coalescence, if anything in particular?
That's a wonderful question. You're making me think here. Oh, man. Yeah, there was so many things, and it's all kind of like interconnected for me. Because so many things affected other things and so on and so forth. But oh gosh. Yeah, I'd have to say most important thing. I think I'll say two things. I will say plan things twice because I did not do that. And one of the things that I'm trying to do on my next project is have a plan and then work on iterating the plan to other people before executing the plan, because then I am learning my plan again. Then I better know it so that when problems arise, I know where I can lean back on things and where I can divert. And the other thing I would say is to trust your experience, because when a lot of things came up, particularly with scheduling, I very much found myself needing to lean back on a lot of the stuff that I learned through making the Wild Boys movies, which were very run and gun. Whereas Coalescence, as it was being shot, was a lot more traditional in regards to how it was being filmed. So having that experience with Wild Boys really helped in being able to just switch into a different mode of operating, to get what was needed to be shot, even if it wasn't necessarily the way that you wanted to shoot it. But yeah, those are two things that I'll mention. But there are so many other things. It's hard to necessarily prioritize one over the other. But yeah, that's a great question.
I don't think I learned anything making Coalescence, but that's not because it's because I wasn't like the director, I think. For me, it was like just a soundtrack that I did. And so I don't think I learned a huge lesson other than if you're too angry, if you think you're too angry to create something, just create it anyway. Something interesting might happen, because that's what I did the morning after the election.
Emotion creates authentic art.
Yeah.
Yeah. As an editor, I think I learned just a lot about like a new approach and new techniques that I hadn't had the chance to like work on a lot in that experimental realm, and how to link things together, how to like understand like a large body of or pool of clips to pull from, and how to just manipulate it, and kind of take that and divert that raw creative energy into something concise and succinct. And that was a big new thing. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Good question.
Yeah.
Any other last little questions before we log off here? I don't know when we're gonna do another live stream, and I don't know when our next video is coming out, but we will have a new video coming out about Coalescence. And I don't know. We kind of had a discussion over the weekend about what Doom Productions does and what we are, and like we do every 6 months, it feels like. But yeah, so we're not going to be, I don't know the best way to say it. Like, we're not posting every week anymore, but we haven't done that in a while too. But there is some cool stuff coming from us, but more narrative, more projects, and all that sort of stuff. But
taking the time
Aaron?
to be creative.
Yeah, Aaron says we need 1, a director's commentary, and 2, a riff tracks. Sure.
Done and done.
If how about Aaron records the commentary and we record the riff tracks? Great seeing you guys again. Great work again on Coalescence. Well, thank you, James.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, James.
Yeah. Well, any last questions? Going once. Going twice. And then watch us click like end stream right as someone sends in a big question. All right. Well, Zach, your movie's out. You got any final message for the people before we log off?
Thank you all for watching it. And if you haven't, thank you for taking your future time to watch it. Yeah, it was a long time in the making, and I'm glad it's finally out. So yeah, I don't really know what else to say. Yeah,
that works. All right, everyone, thanks for dropping in. Tell your friends about Coalescence, and we'll see you next time.